Hello, writers. So one of the hardest things about applying to creative writing MFA programs is all of the rejection. You're going to get rejected by at least some of the places you apply to, if not all of them sometimes. These programs are very, very competitive, and the acceptance rates are very, very low most of the time. So if you got rejected from all of the schools you applied to, or at least all the ones that you were hoping to get into, like all of the ones that were fully funded and whatnot, first of all, I'm sorry. It's no fun. It really isn't. But second of all, I hope that this video can help you to know what to do next. So what I want to do today is first, I want to talk about why people get rejected from MFA programs. And then second, I want to talk about what you can do about it and how you can do better next time. Okay, so why do people get rejected from creative writing MFA programs? There's a lot of reasons, and some of them are within your control and some of them are not. So let's start with the ones that are outside of your control. So, like I said, MFA programs are usually very competitive. A lot of people want to get into those slots, and there are not very many of them usually. A lot of it comes down to just the competition. There's just too many people. So you might have a really good writing sample, you might be a really good writer, and they just still have to say no because they have 50 other good writers and they can only take 6 or 5 or whatever the case may be. Another element of it that's beyond your control is just the subjectivity that is inherent in creative writing. You can write something that someone will hate and someone else will throw awards at. It's just how it works. So somebody might read your work and be like, not for me. And then someone else will read it and be like, yes, this is what we want. This is amazing. So a lot of it just comes down to subjectivity, and it can even just be really finicky, fickle things. Like I remember in my MFA program, I shared a piece with my mentor and he hated it. But I think he was just having an off day because I included that piece in my thesis, and during my defense, he said that was one of his favorite pieces. Go figure. So maybe your work wasn't to their taste, or maybe your work was just at the bottom of the slush pile and they were tired when they went through it, or they hadn't had lunch yet or something. I don't know. Very, very subjective. All right, so let's dive into the things that might actually be your fault, like the reasons that you might get rejected that are within your control and the things that you can change and do better next time. So the first one I want to talk about is I feel like some writers misunderstand what an MFA program is and what it's for. Some people might think that MFA programs will love their kind of writing when really they don't understand that MFA programs don't want that kind of writing. So most MFA programs focus on literary writing, a traditional style of writing that's been around for a long time. Most of it's realistic, focusing on real people in real places, in real life situations. And that doesn't mean there isn't room for the fantastical and the weird and the quirky, but most literary writing is grounded in reality. So if you are submitting your fantasy story or your sci-fi or your horror, that probably won't go over very well with most MFA programs. There are exceptions. There are programs that focus on that kind of thing. You just have to do your research and make sure that the programs you're applying to like the kind of writing that you're doing. Okay, another reason people get rejected, and this is going to sound obvious, but there's a lot to it, is just because of bad writing. As someone who works with writers who are applying to MFA programs, I've seen a lot of bad writing where sometimes it's writing that they are trying to make sound cool and artsy, but it just sounds like the script of a bad TV show. Or there's characters making decisions that just don't make sense, and it's like, why is this person doing that? So on the artistic, big picture storytelling level, I see a lot of problems with people not really understanding how to write in a literary way. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of study. You have to make sure that you're reading and exposing yourself to really high quality writing and storytelling so that that can rub off on your writing. And another component to the poor writing is just grammar, sentence structure, syntax, things like that, where I see problems where people don't really understand just how to make a good sentence. So there's the big macro issues with character, plot, storytelling, and then there's the micro issues of sentences, grammar, just the way it sounds, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I work a lot with ESL writers who are writing in English as their second language, which boggles my mind. I'm learning Spanish right now, and there's no way I could write anything creative in Spanish. So if English is your second language, you're amazing. Don't give up, but I do see a lot of English as a second language writers who just aren't quite there yet in their understanding of English grammar. And that goes for native English speakers and writers too. I mean, it really doesn't matter where you come from or what your first language is. There's just this skill of understanding how a language works on the very fine scale. And as much as possible, you want to have that understanding. If your writing sample is full of typos and grammar errors, no one's gonna give you the time of day. That's just how it works. Okay, so those are kind of the main reasons that I think people get rejected from MFA programs. But the real question is, what can you do about it? If this application season didn't go well for you, how can you make next year better? The first thing to do is don't give up. If this is something you really love, if you really, really want to go get that MFA, don't give up. Keep trying. It doesn't always work out the first time. Maybe next time will be different. But if, on the other hand, you've gone through this process and you are like, I don't really know if this is my thing, like I thought it was, there's no shame in deciding, you know what, I tried and this wasn't my thing, and I'm gonna go try to do something else now. So both are okay. But if you really want to do this, don't give up. It's hard. That's just the way it is. Keep at it. As part of that, keep learning, keep writing, keep reading, do all of the things that are going to not only maintain your talent, but grow it so that you can be a stronger writer the next time around. As part of that, delve more into the MFA programs that you admire. Read the work that those professors are writing. Make sure you go into your next application season with a better understanding of the programs you're applying to and what they want and all of that kind of stuff. In addition to that, try to find ways that you can boost your CV so that in those situations where there are just too many good writers for a program to take all of them, sometimes in those situations, they start to really look at the fine print of an applicant to try to weed out the ones that they don't want. So figure out what other kinds of things you can add to your experience as a writer that will be appealing to MFA programs. Try to get some publications out. Do some literary citizenship. Participate in a literary magazine as an editor or a reader. Just find things that you enjoy that show that you are engaged with the writing community and that you have experience and skill in engaging with that community. Okay, the last thing I'm going to recommend doing is getting some kind of editor. I don't mean necessarily hiring some professional service. It could be that, but find a good writing group, find a good writing mentor, maybe one of your professors, or maybe you just have a friend who's a good writer. Try to get some good feedback on your writing to make sure that it is as good as it possibly can be. Even after all of my experience, I usually have to get a lot of workshopping done in order to get something published. And it's the same thing with MFA applications. The more you can get feedback from other people, the more ideas you're going to have to revise and strengthen your writing. Again, it doesn't have to be someone that you pay, but if you would like to, I work with people professionally as an editor, as a writing coach, and I would be happy to look at your stuff, give it a thorough read through, give you some thorough feedback so that you can grow as a writer and expand and strengthen your writing. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and take a look at the link below. For now, it's going to be a link to my Fiverr account where I do most of my editing, but I am in the process of building a website. So eventually I'm going to swap that link out for my own personal website where you can contact me. Again, no pressure, but if you'd like to, I would love to work with you. And be sure to check out some of my other videos. I have other videos about the application process and how to be successful. Good luck, and I'll talk to you later.